vibe out what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up.
Welcome to Tales from the Field. We are back and better than ever. My name is Bradley Ball, and it is so good to have you with us. On Tuesday, we had Erin Stellato, Senior Program Manager from the Azure SQL Product Group Tools and Experience team, and she was on the show. She talked about Azure Data Explorer. We had a great conversation about New Year's resolutions. Also, she asked directly for feedback from you, dear viewer, to be able to help influence the future of the product. All of that and more. If you didn't see that show, well, hey, go check it out now over on our YouTube page where everything is logged after the fact. And you want to make sure that you get there, because who hosted, who won? Nobody knows. I mean, we know, but yeah, if you weren't there, you don't know. So go check it out. If this is your first time finding your way over to Tales from the Field, please go to our page and give us a like and give us a subscribe. Right now, we are broadcasting on so many different places, and it is so easy to interact with the show. We're on Twitter under the accounts of Neeraj Jafari, Josh Ludeman, SQL Balls, Tales from the Field, SQL Balls over on LinkedIn, and also on YouTube. So go check us out. If you make a comment on any of those streams, one of my amazing co-hosts will see that and they will add your comment to the show. Speaking of these co-hosts, before we go any further, let me introduce them. I am joined by Andreas Padilla, Josh Ludeman, and the man of steel, a tower of zeal, and a presence you have to be in person to feel, the one, the only Neeraj Jafari. Gentlemen, here we are, Thursday. Woo, almost a Friday.
Right.
I'm happy about that, Andreas. So we talked about New Year's, but we didn't talk about Christmas. What was your best Christmas gift, buddy?
Oh my God, Christmas was awesome. Like I mentioned in our last show, I got ice skates for my wife because it beats renting them. I got them sharpened last night. I'm ready to show off my talents, and I love showing off my talents.
Oh, I love it. So do you do like a triple Lutz or anything?
No, I can't do anything to that. I'm on the seal. Still, my son's pushing me.
That's a
I was going to say, I can just picture Andres flying through the air in a perfect spin with his arm up in the air.
I was going to say, if you had said I stick a triple sow cow, I would have been like, I guess that's a thing. I believe it.
You have sour cows?
I think that's a gummy thing, right? Or is that Sour Patch Kid? I don't know.
Sour Patch Kids. So Christmas was excellent. Yeah.
That's actually Neeraj. How about you, buddy? Best Christmas gift?
The ugly sweater that I won from my wife. So yeah, that was one of the best Christmases. I mean, we went to Chicago with my wife's cousin's place, and everybody had to wear the worst, ugliest sweater, and then she found something for me, and I didn't want to wear it, but she made me wear it, and I won the prize. So that was a good gift.
Oh, that is awesome. I love a good ugly sweater. And also Chicago. I'm from Peoria, Illinois. My wife is from Chicago. That's awesome that you were visiting Chi-Town. Did you do anything fun? I know they got an ice skating rink. They got a Christmas tree.
I ate a lot. I mean, went out to a lot of good restaurants up there. Went to downtown, but I went during the blizzard. So a couple of days were just crazy. Minus 27 degrees up there. So
there you go. Any snowball fights?
Yeah. Yeah, kids have a lot of fun on the snowball fights and all of that. So yeah.
If there's snow, there's fights.
Yep.
That's all there is to it.
So, Josh, what about you, buddy? What
So
was
best Christmas gift, I'm going to totally hijack the screen here because I got some good ties. So actually here you've got Mjolnir on the shelf above, a little bit closer, Josh. There we go.
Oh,
I've got
yeah.
the Nano Gauntlet,
Ooh.
and then
Wow.
to be built, the Infinity Gauntlet with Thanos standing guard. So for me,
Man.
I it's a close tie. Which god power do I want? I don't know.
Well, I was going to say, as you can see, for me, I got a whole bunch of new lights that I was able to put up in my office and have some fun with. And so I've got those strips in the background. I've got some on the bookcase. I think I left my phone downstairs during lunch, or I would show you, but I can change all the colors and the patterns via Bluetooth on my cell phone. So before I leave the office for the night, I just turn off all the lights behind me.
There you
Nice.
go.
Oh, nice.
Excellent. Excellent. So before we hit the end of the year, we had actually had this idea about doing a Secret Santa. And our good friend Lonnie Bauer, she hopped on that and she made an Elfster. She invited us, and we had a couple other people that were invited.
Mhm.
And I'm really, really excited about this. As a matter of fact, we recently got our matches. No, don't anybody say anything, right? So we should have had a match. Everybody has a match?
Do I have a
I think
match?
so.
Yep.
Josh,
I need to check my email.
you do
Yeah.
need to check your email. You should.
Last night it came in. So Josh
Okay,
is,
yeah, I
Can
haven't
we-
checked my email since.
Can we still make our wish list? Do we still have time
Yes.
to make
Yeah.
a wish list?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can make a
Okay,
wish
good.
list at any point in time. Yeah. Now, I'll be honest. The person that I got didn't make a wish list, and so I'm really hoping that they like rainbow underwear. Maybe a
I
little
do
unicorn
too.
tiara. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I can get them anything I want. There was nothing out there. It's
With the gift exchange, I'm actually excited about wardrobe because I purchased a couple ugly sweaters going into the holidays, but as y'all know, I had to go up north. So they were actually delivered while I was gone. So now I'm going to wear my ugly sweaters on the show. Not at the same time, that would look ridiculous and ugly. However, there will be wardrobe changes. So yes, there
Well,
will be ugly sweaters.
I was
It's
gonna
80
say,
degrees in
love it.
Florida. No sweaters.
it's just off camera, but I have an ugly sweater that I'm super happy with. It's actually my armchair expert
Oh,
sweater.
nice.
wow.
And
That
it's
is
got,
beautiful.
it's got little reclining chairs. You can see in that white print right there.
Oh, look at that.
So what do you say? We're doing this gift exchange, and it's with some of our closest folks having to do with the show.
Mhm.
I'm thinking Tuesday, the 31st, the end of the month, because that's when we're supposed to be doing it. Let's make it part of the show. Dan says part of being a manager is checking your email. That's
So wait right there.
Very true.
Part of
Dan.
being a manager is checking email. I'm on vacation. No.
Oh yes.
Oh.
You know, as a matter of fact, I do want to thank Josh for participating this week, because really, when people are on vacation, we're down to get an alternate host or anything like that, and because we want to make sure people have that time for their mental capacity. But Josh has been coming in from vacation each day, and we appreciate that.
This is no. This is fine. I'm good with that. I'm vacationing from work. So yeah, that the Elfster is attached to my work email. So yeah, no, I had no idea that came in because I'm not looking there right now.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So Dan asked about a wardrobe malfunction, but Dan is included in the Elfster because it's Dan, it's Lonnie, it's our good friend Andrew Nathan that we had earlier in the year, and then it's the four of us, right?
I'm afraid of Dan mentioning wardrobe malfunctions.
Yes.
Yeah. I think so. That might be so. I think everybody should wear an ugly sweater, and I think on Tuesday the 31st we do the unwrapping of our presents live as an episode. What do y'all think?
Yes.
Here,
Okay.
here.
Man,
Here.
sign
Yeah.
me up.
And you know, you're afraid of Dan's wardrobe malfunctions because he's on your team and he reports to you. And good job sucking up, Dan. Josh is really good at letting us vacation. Good manager, great skill set. So I guess maybe you know a little bit about what managers are supposed to do.
A little bit.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
I'm trying really
I
hard.
thought that was his resolution for this year, right?
Yeah.
That's
Actually, it was for
part of it.
last year, but I didn't complete it, so we're gonna hold it over to this year. So,
Yeah, it's like a rollover minutes thing, right? Do they still even have those?
no,
No.
God, I'm
that
so
that died when
Limited
Singular did.
yeah, that doesn't work that way. Hey, we should probably talk about the community roundtable, why we're actually here together. But I mean, everybody's good with this. Tuesday, we're gonna Tuesday the 31st, end of this month, live
team.
gift exchange. There we go. All right, bring it in. All right. So first up, I've got Neeraj Jafari. And Neeraj, what do we have here?
So same, sticking to the theme of the week, New Year's resolution. This is by Megan Grant. She's a professional writer. I mean, she just wrote down how a little bit tweaked it up, but she gave 55 different ways what you can do a resolution in that, right? And people want to get thinner. She's like, no, don't get thinner, get healthier. So something that makes more sense, more influencer and something to pick up from in case if you have not done any New Year resolutions.
I love this one right here. So at Microsoft, sometimes we have some really amazing guest speakers come in, give a compliment a day. We had Karamo Brown. Did y'all see Karamo when he came in and he talked to us internally? And you may not have, but if you didn't, I'm going to share a little bit of that. But one of the things he talked about was the fact that self-confidence and self-love is something that is a learned skill. And he said, typically every morning you look in the mirror, and especially at the new year, right? Because we got all these resolutions fresh in our head, and people are, I'm fat. I don't like how I look. I'm not this. I'm not that. And you see all the things that are wrong, but there are wonderful, amazing things about all of us. I try and tell them to Neeraj, every time we get together. But it's one of those things you have to practice is compliment yourself. Because if you don't teach yourself to have confidence in yourself, nobody else is going to do it for you. And so I would add to this, not only give a compliment a day, but give a compliment to yourself. Nice eyes, nice smiles, something, find something about yourself. Andreas, great fucking beard, man. I mean, just a great beard. But sorry. I was talking about. I know.
It's okay. I'm used to it. I'm just chopped liver. It's okay. Continue with what you were saying.
Language cap, Josh. I mean, come on, man. Yeah, the hats, right? I could compliment your beard, but you've had that for a while. The hats, buddy, those are amazing. But there's a lot of great advice in here. Read a book. I love this, Neeraj. This is really good stuff.
There is one for Josh. Go a whole day without reading mails. He's doing it right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Don't read your emails while you're on vacation. Like whoever you got for Elfster, it'll wait till next week.
No, I turn that off, and everybody knows if they need to get a hold of me urgently, text message is the way to go.
Absolutely. Yeah, there you go. Nobody needs email as a vacation thing. That sounds like the worst vacation ever. All right. So I'm up next. I've got replicate data to Azure Synapse Analytics with Azure Synapse Link for SQL. I absolutely love this. Cohen van Verbeek, he did this blog. He's got so many great blogs. This is over at MS SQL Tips. One of the things I love is he goes through the pre-configuration, the prerequisites, but he actually configures this, including doing several errors. And again, as the title says, this isn't just for SQL 2012. This is for SQL. Azure Synapse Link for SQL. And so he's using an Azure SQL database in here to show how you can use Synapse Link with Azure SQL database. I love it that he throws a couple errors as well by showing, hey, if I haven't provisioned the right and proper size of the Azure SQL database, here's the error you're going to get. There's another one if you haven't configured the table correctly with a proper primary key. But again, he walks through and he even goes through the cleanup process. So one of those great new features that we've introduced for Azure Synapse Analytics. This is also available for SQL 2022, which went GA towards the tail end of last year. And so if you're looking for a good tutorial on how to set this up, what the data looks like, and even what the status looks like once you get some of that data flowing into the system, this is a great blog for that.
Yeah, nice one.
Oof. All right. So up next, I have Andreas. And I'm sorry, I missed the layout.
No,
there we go.
Yeah, let me
Andreas.
So I stumbled upon this through my medium.com feed. This was posted by Moreno Segaro. And what caught my eye in this post was in midway in there's a little title that says content is king and delivery is God. And this goes to everybody out there who has to deal internally with your internal groups, with clients. You have your content for how you deliver your message, but the delivery is key. learning how to spin a good story and mimicking it so it entices people is something that takes practice, but will always leave them happy. Clients will be happy if you can spin a good story with a client, with internally, with your manager, with anybody that you're trying to sell in some shape or form. Delivery is key, and I love that. So that reminded me that keep practicing my deliveries, keep practicing how I pitch whatever I'm pitching. How do I, help my customers? How do I help my fellow and my fellow colleagues like yourself? And Brad, you're one of the best, storytellers I've ever heard. So this stuck to me. This is what I loved about this post.
No, I absolutely love that. And you're 100% right. When Buck Woody, what our first guest, right? Absolutely amazing. We've had him on a couple times. And one of the things he talks about is he is a professional storyteller. And he couldn't be more right. In our job, it's really key for us to be able to take that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take this opportunity to plug SQL Bits. One of my sessions at SQL Bits is soft skills eat tech skills for breakfast. And it's basically about how, you can be as smart as you want to in technology, but if you don't have the soft skills to express yourself, tell a story, lead down a certain pathway, then, you're never going to be able to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. Sorry, I missed this earlier. It's going to be so much fun. Another wonderful comment by Dan. You're absolutely right, Dan. We can't wait to have this gift exchange and have you in there and be a part of that. Next up, I've got Josh Ludeman. Josh, this is Paul Turley's SQL Server BI blog, and this is DevOps and CI/CD for Power BI.
Yeah, so I actually parked this blog after our last show with Adam, just because I felt like we haven't given Power BI enough love on the show as far as the community roundtable goes. And I thought, well, who would be better community-wise on Power BI than Paul Turley? Paul's been on actually Guiding the Cube before with his data bus traveling around the country. I believe it was a year or two ago. Stopped, was on the Saturday live show for Guiding the Cube. So I wanted to put Paul up here. It's a great post, walks you through, setting up CI/CD and with Power BI. Great post, lots of detail, and Paul's a great resource.
Well, I love that he's got a YouTube video here because, again, it's great to have text. Some of us are visual learners, right? And oh my God, that makes all the world of a difference. So great stuff to be able to complement the content that he's putting together.
Nice content, Josh. I can use this for one of my customers who's asking this week for BI CI/CD. Yeah.
There you go. Tales from the field right there. We're already, no, I agree. And we're going to see data DevOps become more and more of a thing. We've seen it continue to rise. I expect this year we're going to see it continue even more. All right. So, and speaking of Neeraj, we have next up is you, 7 New Year's resolutions for your career.
So for your career, I mean, we do a lot of other resolutions, all of them, but career is definitely most important thing that you should be doing. Also, and this year definitely, because with all this market uncertainties, things going up and down, something that you should definitely plan for your career, right? I mean, a couple of things that I definitely like in there: hone your skills, talk to your manager, create a career plan, keep your updated resume, LinkedIn profile, whatever you are managing it out, keep it updated, right? I mean, that is something that definitely is going to look out, and definitely look out for changes, right? I mean, you don't have to just go out from your company. You can do internal changes also. So that is something that is always going to help you move your careers. But
I love this. There's a couple of like really great things in here. Like one of the things I love: explore other jobs inside of your company, update your resume, outline your dream role. This is a great one, right? There's a lot of times that people will see us doing jobs at Microsoft and they'll go, how did you get in this position? Or how did you do this? And one of the things I was told when I entered Microsoft, I don't know if y'all heard this, is the job that you want might not exist. But there are people who will go and create that job just through doing the things that need to be done. And eventually somebody goes, hey, I'm going to pay you to do that. And so understanding what those qualifications are around your dream job, that's really important.
Yep.
Another thing I love in here, talk to your manager. One of the things that you want to say to your manager often is there anything that you want me to do that I'm not currently doing? And if there's a yes with that, you really need to be doing that one thing. The best answer you can get is no, keep doing what you're doing. If you get that, you're good. But when I worked at Publix, there was a guy who was giving our orientation, had been there like 34, 35 years. And that was one of the pieces of advice he said. He said, I ask this every time we talk. And he goes, and if I'm told, I really want you to do this, that's the thing I have to do. So I talk with your manager. Great stuff. So I'm up next. I've got a blog, Microsoft R Application Network Retirement. I thought this was important to bring to light just because I remember when we started releasing R and other things within SQL Server, and we had MRAN packages that we would utilize, and then with R Open, with our assimilation of that product, there's an evolution that we do internally. And one of the evolutions sometimes we have products that start to go away. And so MRAN, which was the Microsoft CRAN repository for R and for Microsoft Open R, it's going away. This has been announced. It was announced in July 2022. This is something that people know about. This is like the 7-month reminder, because on July 1st, 2023, it's going to cease to exist. So if you are actively using this, there's some recommendations of alternatives, but you need to find an alternative for where you're getting your packages from, where you would be getting your package updates from. So if anybody out there, because we cover a vast array of things, including data science topics, this is where this is going to affect you, right? Especially if you're using R specifically and data science and a Microsoft product that uses the MRAN repository. So that's something that you need to look at, and you need to start mitigating how you're going to work around that. I thought that was an important thing to toss out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
See, next up, we've got Andreas. Andreas, we have the 5 a.m. Club with Robin Schramm.
Okay, you guys. Robin Sharma, he put out a book called The 5 a.m. Club. So since we're talking about New Year's resolutions, and health was my top one. What is one thing that definitely keeps me in check and healthy is waking up early. And this YouTube video, they do a summarization to summarize what's actually in the book, and what you're going to encounter in the book, and the benefits of waking up early, the first hour, how you want to start to set up your first hour after you've gotten out of bed. You want to start to move. You want to meditate. You want to reflect on what you're going to accomplish that day. And one thing that they mentioned in the book that I'm working really hard on this coming year is the 90-91 rule. For 90 days, every day, for 90 days, the first 90 minutes, you should concentrate on the one most important goal that you're working on. And I have one goal that I'm working on. And since, we turned to 2023, I've been working on for 1 hour a day on that one important strategic goal that I'm looking towards. So great strategies that he has in that summarization video. Great book. I definitely recommend it. Wake up early. It'll change your life.
I was going to say, I normally close the tabs when we move on to the next one. I'm actually moving that to another screen. I'm very curious in that, because one of the things I'm doing, I'm actually waking up at 5:30, and now I've only done this 3 days in a row, right? But I've stuck to it. I'm waking up at 5:30 every morning, doing the daily constitutional. And then what I'm doing is I'm doing 20 minutes of transcendental meditation. And then I'm journaling for about 10 to 15 minutes. And then I'm going out and I'm starting, I do a little stretching, and then I do whatever athletic thing I'm going to do for the day. Today was an 1.5-hour walk. It's an 1.5 hours because I'm not super fast. I've got a strained muscle that I'm kind of rehabbing. So I did those rehab exercises, and then I went for an 1.5 hour walk so I can try and keep my figure as bloated as it is, but not any more bloated than it could be.
I just love how you start with reflection after reflection?
Well, first thing in the morning, right? You gotta get right. There's some things that just tend to be moving at that pace.
But
But
you do a lot of exercise, Brad. I mean, you run a lot, right?
yeah, well, I haven't been able to run for a little over 3 weeks now. I had a groin strain, and it wasn't so bad that it tore my ligaments from the muscle, but it was bad enough that when I was laying flat, if I tried to do a leg lift, I couldn't lift my right leg. I could lift it a little bit, but I had to strain through enough pain that I was on the edge of like having tears leak out of my eyes. So it was very, very painful. My hope is next week I can resume running because that's a big part of my fitness. I've gained about 14 pounds since I stopped running. And it really helps me keep the weight off. So, but I love that, Andre. So you're waking up early. What are you doing?
I wake up early, one, because I've always been an early riser. My kids help me wake up because they're in that stage of 2 and 5. So they're up at 6:30. And I always, now I know that I need to wake up at least an hour before the family wakes up in order to be more productive. I immediately now, one of the last posts that I put in, I think it was 2-3 weeks ago, was the benefits of the morning routine. And I go outside as soon as I can in order to get that shot of direct sunlight or just natural light from, and that will help definitely your mood, your energy. I get outside, I meditate, I do TM just like yourself. And then after that, I start just jumping into it and I learn. Learning, I'm watching videos. And then finally, I'll get into the one strategic goal that I'm working on for about 90 minutes, an hour. And then that sets me up to feel ready. I'm crisper. My thought process is faster. I have a better mindset, and then you feel accomplished. The greatest thing about waking up early is the accomplishment feeling, because you actually reduce stress because you don't feel like, man, I have no time during the day. You accomplish so much in those first 3 hours that you feel the stress starts to pour off of you, starts to come off, because you're like, man, I actually got stuff done.
I do totally agree with that. Totally agree. I know that I'm less stressed. Neeraj, are you an early riser?
Yeah, I usually am up by 5:15. Not exercising just because kids. I have to get the kids to the school by 6:30. So getting them out of the house is the biggest task in the morning.
Yeah, kids will do that, waking you up. Josh, your kids are a little bit older, so you get to sleep in. But are you waking up early? You find?
No,
or?
I'm not an early riser. I've always historically been a late night guy. So me, a lot of that stuff that y'all are doing in the first thing in the morning, I do it in the peace and quiet at night after everybody else went to bed. So I'm doing some of that reflection. Hell, I got yelled at last night because I got a new stereo set up with my new machine and finally got that hooked up over the last couple of days. And I was sitting in my office thinking through some things and jamming out. My wife goes, "Could you turn down the subwoofer, please?" I'm trying to go to sleep. I'm like, "Oh, you don't like that?" I don't know.
I was going to say not
These are great.
bad on the techno beat.
You got to do some beatboxing there, bud. New career.
I'm thinking about it. Maybe we'll do that the Christmas show. Yeah.
Dan gets up early, 6 a.m. for two things: hiking and fishing. Maybe we ought to work on this. Neeraj, you seem like a pro getting up at 5 a.m. But over to Mr. Techno himself. Josh, you're up next with Hugo Cornelius. You've got T-SQL Tuesday 151 coding standards.
So this is more to feature the person, not the content.
Okay.
So as we come into the new year, you start to, at least for me, I start to think about what I'm thankful for going into the new year. And I'm thankful to have Hugo. Hugo's had some health struggles over the last couple years now, I think, and just had Hugo at the front of my thoughts. So when I was pulling together links, I said, let's find something of Hugo's to really thank Hugo for everything he's done in the community, bring him to the forefront of our viewers' thoughts, and let Hugo know we're thinking of him, and we're behind him 100%.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'll make sure and throw that T-shirt on next time. We've got it, but yeah, Hugo, much love to you, and thank you for all the work that you do in the community. And we hope you're healthy soon, sir.
Agreed.
Very much so. Next up, we have Neeraj. Neeraj, you've got 5 workforce trends for 2023.
So this year is going to be a little bit different. That's what I think personally, as far as workforce is concerned, right? I mean, people are going to be hiring is going to be a little bit tighter and all this stuff, and the writer really writes up really good things in there. Quiet hiring. I mean, a lot of companies are doing quiet hiring right now, internal hirings or just hiring, not posting as not that many out there just because of the budget freezes and all the stuff happening up there. Uh, People are getting candidates who are on a non-linear path of it. The best thing is happiness is a measure of success, right? I mean, you should be happy what you're doing on it. That's the people who are going to be successful in there. Freelancing definitely is getting a lot of search this year. That's what I think is going to happen, and focus on work-life balance, right? I mean, that is something that we as individual also should be doing it up. Work-life balance is going to be a must. Right. Are you going to burn out yourself?
Yeah, the happiness immediately makes me think of the quote from John Lennon, where supposedly when he was 5 years old and in kindergarten, the teacher had asked them what they wanted to do, what they wanted to be when they grew up, and he said happy, and the teacher said, "I don't think you understood the assignment," and his reply back was supposed to be, "I don't think you understood the assignment."
Mhm.
Because if you can grow up and be happy, what a wonderful world it would be.
Yep.
All right. So my next one is the analyst as the random variable. What I really loved about this was Jeff Leake wrote a blog, and what they did was they gave sets of data to different analysts, and then they found oh, there we go. Gilda, loving the hat. Josh, thank you for watching, Gilda. I'll always love a good comment on Josh's hats. But what Jeff was talking about in this article was that they gave the same sets of data to different analysts. And it was really fascinating to see that those different analysts actually had different outputs for their data based off of what their mindset was. And the fact was that the analysts turned out to be the random variable. Just an absolutely fascinating article on this. And I thought definitely well worth your time if you're looking for a read. And again, a quick reminder, we will be posting the links for every single one of these on the comments of our YouTube, and I'll do a wrap up on Monday where I post them on my blog as well, to make sure that you have access to them. So after me, next up is Andreas. We have bring cloud services and AI solutions at the edge.
Oh, bridging the cloud services and making Vision AI easier. Tony Sempigi, thank you so much for blogging about this. Back in November, there was an announcement that Scott Guthrie made, and big partnership between NVIDIA and Microsoft. And this is, totally up and close to my heart. Doing Vision AI is tough. It's not straightforward. And one of the tool sets that developers have out there is using DeepStream in order to make Vision AI pipelines easier. If you can get DeepStream to work on your device and then pipe in and connect all those RTSP feeds, do that into your device, then create your models so they can do the inference on the device and do all those connections, all that interplay between NVIDIA, Jetpack, DeepStream, IoT Hub, blob storage, all that interplay is tough to get going. These guys just recently, 3 weeks ago, if you scroll down, there's a GitHub repo in there, and thank you for that GitHub repo. It shows you, it accelerates how to get DeepStream working on your device, how to, the get starting path. Thank you so much for this, because the biggest problem they have with getting their devices set up is going into dependency hell. And I've lived in dependency hell. You just made my life so much easier of getting it up and running and making 1,000 other people's lives easier for getting those AI pipelines up and running. Thank you so much for this blog post.
Absolutely. Fantastic. I love it. And I love it when we get some great content like that, that really showcases the, not only the pathway of how to do it, but here's a GitHub repository. So that way you can, you can go and adopt this yourself.
Yeah. And what you were talking about, Andres, with getting started, and well, in this case, dependency hell, getting started, I think is one of the hardest pieces of any of the technologies that any of us cover. Getting started, whether it be with SQL, with distributed compute with Synapse and products like that, or even at the edge, just getting started sometimes is a hulkish effort, so to speak, to use the comic book references that we all love on the show. It's such a large effort that getting that first step and making that easier makes the whole journey easier in a lot of cases.
Wow. Yeah, 1,000 times. How many of us have not had to cut through the weeds and shrubs just to get to a breath of fresh air? And that's what our jobs are, to make our customers lives easier, not have to go through all that run around. And these getting started posts make not only customers' lives easier, make our lives easier, because there's too many services that are interconnected, and it's great when they give us a nice line of sight.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. And so last up, I've got Josh Ludeman. Josh, you've got our good friend, Tim Mitchell, and you've got a blog about his office setup.
Yeah. So I wanted to feature Tim, period. And so when I got to his blog and I was looking around, his last blog that he did actually at the beginning of December, I loved it because, as you might be able to tell from behind me, I've cleaned up the mess and kind of reorganized not everything that you can see behind the camera or in front of the camera, but behind the camera I have as well. That I was like, yep, I totally understand a lot of what he's talking about here. I agree. Changing monitor placement. I already talked about the speakers. You can see I got the lights up here, changing some of the ambiance in the room, so to speak, but it all, in good microphone and things like that, as part of what I do. I was looking at this going, yeah, I totally feel you there. Yep, I get that. Yep, went through that. So Tim as a whole is a great business intelligence and analytics person to look at his blog for. A lot of good stuff around SSIS and things like that. In fact, SSIS is how I originally found Tim many, many moons ago. But also just a great perspective as a whole. Definitely recommend Tim for looking at his blog for anything you have in those areas. He's, and just to top it all off, great guy. Great guy.
Oh yeah. Tim is just a lovely, lovely human being. I want to say I met him at one of my first past summits. I'm sure I've seen him a million times out in the community. He's always speaking, always doing great work. Just unbelievably sharp and just an incredibly smart man. Very gracious with his time too. He also unbelievable karaoke singer. And I know sometimes I throw stuff out there like a joke. I am not kidding. That man can sing. It is ridiculous. But yeah, so always a good time. So
fun fact about what Tim has over me. He's a great karaoke singer.
all of us, right? Like if anybody on Andreas, Neeraj, are you singers?
No.
Yeah,
Andres
there's a
is
reason.
singer.
There's a reason.
Not at all.
Look at the guy. Look at the smile on his face. That little grin.
You know that
Small
funny,
game skating.
I was going to say, we'll have to have an in-person holiday party at some point in time where we loosen them up a little bit. If you know what I'm saying, get them to sing a tune or two. Maybe I've got a guitar in the background I can offer. All right, so we're down to the reminders. Is there anything that? So first off, SQL Bits. SQL Bits is coming up in March. It's going to be in Wales. It's also going to be online. So if you want to attend SQL Bits, but you cannot geographically travel, well, you can still go. They're going to have
Absolutely.
some of the presenters are online. All of the in-person presentations are going to be online. Last year, I want to say there was a pre-con that I helped Bob Ward and Buck Woody with, and we ended up having like 30 or 40 people online attending the pre-con, which is absolutely fantastic. Dan, I'm the only person you may know who got kicked out of church for singing. No, Dan, I probably did too. But let's see. So the only other thing I've got is Tuesday. We've got our hosting show, so don't forget that.
Who's hosting?
Well, we're not going to say, right? Because they got to go check the video.
Oh, I like what you did there.
So let's go ahead, and I think that's it, right? Is there any other reminder that y'all have?
No, I wanted to make sure you already referenced bits, and then see you on Tuesday. That was my two pieces.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.
All right, thank you,
Josh,
everybody.
enjoy your vacation, buddy.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you all.
Good to see you.